Alex Albon found himself rock bottom in his career at the end of 2020 when Red Bull dismissed him as a racing driver. However, based on the driver market for 2025, he might be on his way back to the top of the grid. Could we see one of Formula One's biggest redemptions come true? And could this set up a chain reaction of moves? Silly season hasn't been that exciting this year, but a move for Albon this or next year could start a domino effect of moves between several teams. Albon's current contract keeps him at Williams until the end of the season, when he becomes a free agent. It wouldn't be a terrible thing for him to stay with a team that has been created around him and is making genuine development, but he will be conscious of the time constraints if he is to return to the top of the F1 grid. Williams may get there in the long run, but not on a timetable that works for Albon, who's already in his middle age in F1 at 27 years old. One of the reasons 2025 seems so good for Albon is that it's evident, even 17 months away, that it has the potential to be a season of significant change in driver lineups. At the moment, every team has the option of changing at least one driver for 2025. McLaren may be an exception because it has a contract with Lando Norris through 2025 and will undoubtedly have an option on Oscar Piastri's services that it will exercise. Albon will not be towards the top of the big team shortlists. This is because they'll target proven, established superstars with several victories and titles on their resumes. However, they are extremely uncommon and in high demand. That implies that there are instances when the next best thing, or an outright high-level number 2 is required. Just look at Red Bull, who has always had a clear number 2 after Daniel Ricciardo's departure. This is when Albon enters the picture. Any question about his mental strength following the harrowing experience of 18 months at Red Bull Racing, when he floundered up against Max Verstappen, will have been dispelled. By the second half of 2020, he appeared to be a ghost of the driver he once was, obviously lacking in confidence behind the wheel. Red Bull offered him every opportunity to defend his continued employment, enjoying his off-track contributions and believing in his ability, but given his failures, they were forced to replace him. Albon returned to Williams last year, intending to step up as a driver and become that leader that the team required after a year on the sidelines as Red Bull's reserve driver, a period he made the most of in terms of increasing his understanding of how F1 teams function. He did it extremely well, getting off to a terrific start and building on it in 2023. Albon has demonstrated his speed throughout his time with Williams. He's a driver with a lengthy history of success, which began with his great karting days. So prospective employers may easily dismiss his Red Bull tenure as an anomaly under tough conditions. He's also shown he can lead a team, attack confidently, defend flawlessly, and take a car that normally requires perfection to score points into the top 10. His diverse skill set, paired with his expertise, make him an enticing candidate. It is unknown where the possibilities will show themselves. There are more major drivers in the queue ahead of Albon, and their actions will define the paths that open up for him. But if a spot opens, Albon will surely be on the list. That means that, for now, he's waiting to hear about Lewis Hamilton's Mercedes agreement, which is still to be completed. And if this doesn't happen, could you see Albon joining Mercedes? After all, he is driving in a Mercedes-powered car under a team boss that used to work for Mercedes up until last year. So it'll be easy for Toto Wolff and his team to properly investigate Albon. If that doesn't happen, there is an opportunity for Albon to drive in the Holy Red. As the contracts of the current Ferrari drivers, Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz, are set to expire at the end of 2022, and a renewal is yet to be considered for both. This was enough to fuel speculations about Mercedes courting the Monegasque and Audi courting the Spaniard. Claims later contradicted by both prancing horse drivers. But if Ferrari keep on failing, it won't be weird to think that both current drivers will want to move on. After all, Ferrari keep focusing on Leclerc, who can't seem to battle at the front. And Ferrari's focus on Leclerc leaves Sainz feeling unjustified. In recent days, Ferrari president John Elkann has emphasized that the company's aim in the recent weeks has been to build the faulty SF23 as fast as possible, and there was no need to replace its drivers. Team principal Frederic Vasseur then reiterated his wish to preserve the Leclerc-Sainz pairing and promised that discussions would begin during the Formula One World Championship summer break. If Charles Leclerc appears to have reservations about continuing at Maranello, the future of Carlos Sainz appears to be similarly uncertain. He may be searching about for a team where he can obviously be the first driver in 2025. The first name to emerge for a possible replacement for the Spaniard is mentioned in an edition of Corriere dello Sport. However, the irreconcilability between Carlos's ambition to become world champion and Ferrari's decisive intention to become Leclerc-centric is coming to the surface. And now, unchecked rumours are filtering through that Vasseur has hooked up with Alex Albon to have him in red from 2025 to bring points and watch Charles' back. It is a likely hypothesis considering the various circumstances, and that Sainz's contracts with Maranello and Albon's with Williams expire at the end of 2024. But that's not all. Even a return to Red Bull is not out of the question, especially given the uncertainty surrounding Sergio Perez's long-term future. And that's not something the new improved Albon would be concerned about. It is even known senior Red Bull engineers greatly respect Albon. We also know that Albon has been in negotiations with half of the grid, some of whom are some of these front-running teams. Regardless of how he comes into a front-running squad, which is unlikely to be as an unquestioned team leader, he may then employ the foot-in-the-door concept to demonstrate his worth. Albon would just take a number 2 or second best job since it would allow him to demonstrate his talent. He'll bet on himself to perform at a level capable of dethroning any nominally established order. Then it'll be up to him to deliver the performance, which this time he's more than capable of. Even if a spot in the front-running teams isn't available, he'd be an excellent lead driver alternative for an aspiring midfielder. Audi will almost certainly have him on its shortlist after Andreas Seidel considered him when team principal at McLaren, and Alpine has previously expressed interest in Albon. Could we see Sainz and Albon link up for Audi? Albon would be a no-brainer for teams at that level and lower, albeit they would have to demonstrate that they're a more tempting alternative than staying at Williams, which have said to be on their way back to the top, but if that's a reality, we'll have to wait and see. It remains to be seen how this plays out. What is certain is that Albon will be a big piece on the chessboard and will be given opportunities, some of which may be quite excellent. That's an incredible career comeback given where he was at the end of 2020, and it speaks something about Albon's core ability, attitude and mindset. What do you think? Will we see Albon moving to a top team in a couple of years? In the meanwhile, he must only wait and watch how things unfold, while continuing to thrive for Williams. And Alex Albon has stated that he's already began working on next year's car in April, so his view will be on staying with Williams for at least another year. The Grove-based outfit is on the road to recovering from a bleak run in the championship, aiming to become a regular in the midfield battle. But we have seen some amazing resurgences this year from Aston Martin and McLaren, which give Williams hope. I think if you listen to Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri's comments, they're not saying that the car itself has improved in terms of their balance, they just say that there's a bit more downforce on the car. They've made a huge step in that sense, but not in the way the car drives. That being said, I've started working on next year's car since April in the simulator, and making sure we're changing the car characteristics to try and mitigate some of these constant balance issues we've been having for the last 4 or 5 years. That's been a big focus for next year. It shows the ambition of the team, Albon said. I think it shows where we think we need to improve, and just doing upgrades through the year is not really going to get us to keep working towards that to get there. I think Aston Martin is a great example of designating time and focus and giving yourself a bit more of a buffer to improve your car and think more long term. So, will we see the Williams fight for a midfield place next year? Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. And let us know if you think Albon will make a switch in the upcoming years, and which team will pick him up.